Welcome everybody to episode 168 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Russell, we're back from the National.
Yeah,
I'm just
man.
going to get this show started off with a bang. We went to the National past weekend.
Been a high concentration of You Can't Comp This. So Saturday morning, we recorded with Robert Steinfeld.
Yep.
Sunday was
to
the National. And then
Yep.
Today we're recording very early. So thank you for accommodating me.
You're taking
heading off on a little
some time off.
Vacay. So yeah, it feels like we've done a lot for the podcast these last couple of days. And we have, to be fair. But listeners will hear this episode in a few more days. Unless they hear it early on YouTube.
That's podcast. It. They can get a sneak peek. And yeah, it's a really good opportunity to remind people. Yes, we are now live on YouTube when we stream the episodes.
Yeah,
but you can also get the back catalogue of episodes if you do miss a podcast on YouTube podcasts.
Yeah,
yeah. What do they say? Like, subscribe, and tick that bell for notifications when a new podcast drops. I know it works because I've ticked the bell. And occasionally I get notified when a new podcast comes up, and I kind of look at it and go, maybe I shouldn't tick the bell because I know when we go live. Anyway.
That's kind of getting awkward to explain, isn't it?
Yeah. It's sort of like my internal monologue, just sort of.
Anyway, look, there's actually a lot to talk about because the last couple of weeks we did Robert, and then the 2 weeks before that we did the entire league preview. So there's sort of all these been bits and pieces that have been bubbling along in the background. So we're sort of going to cover off a few things that we haven't covered the last, couple of weeks. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that we've missed, but at the same time, let's just get into it, Adam. So I think the best place to start is just yesterday, just reflections on the National, because I had a fantastic day. I'm pretty sure that you had a good day too. So I had
a great time. It was fantastic. Yeah.
So why don't we just share some of our reflections or, things we thought, went well or things that we thought maybe could have gone better at the Nationals. So
I want to start out by saying I thought the venue was amazing. It was great of the city of Melbourne to put on the best weather possible for a card show.
It was spectacular weather yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, I live in Docklands, so the fact that it was in Docklands was quite convenient. It was all of a 5-minute walk for me.
Yeah. I mean, as you get into middle age, the transit to an event is very important. So I think for you, that's an absolute A+++, isn't it?
No parking issues for me. No,
that's right.
No public transport. We were just casual stroll in the sun.
Anytime you don't have to drive and park your car is like A+, isn't it?
Well, on that though, Marvel has really good weekend parking rates for those that did want to travel. It's right near Spencer Street Station or Southern Cross Station. Jeez,
showing our age. Yeah, I think the youngins might not realise what it used to be.
The train station on Spencer Street is Southern Cross Station. It's not Spencer. Anywho, and it was at a sports ground, and I think that was the best aesthetic for me. Aside from looking out the window into the water, it was great. But you'd look through the other window, and it's a sports stadium. Like it just had that sports stadium vibe to it. There was plenty of places to trade, like for people to trade cards. Lots of space for the vendors. Plenty of space. I wasn't bumping into people. I mean, we bumped into quite a few people, but
there was. I know what you're saying.
It wasn't chock-a-block. It felt really nice.
So taking aside the venue itself, the thing that really caught my eye was Whatnot.
Yeah,
and this is maybe something that I've not been following closely enough, but clearly Whatnot want to come into the Australian space and break into that.
Yeah.
And I think, look, a lot's been said about Whatnot, about the problems about it, but if you also sort of stand back and think about what Whatnot brings is it's literally a breaking platform for people to access. And so it does make sense that we would be there in some capacity. When I say we, I mean the Australians, but just due to the logistics of it, Australian breakers haven't been able to list on it. It's been difficult for Aussies to actually, go on there and buy spots unless you've got, some logistics in America. So there's a few things around that I think is just going to be amazing for Australian collectors. And so whatever your opinion is about Whatnot, and I have to admit, there's a lot of stuff that I see on there that I don't like. Like, so for example, breakers cancelling people's spots when they, hit big and stuff like that. So I also hope that as they grow their platform, they sort of start to really sharpen things up and, refine things down and, whatever the process is for, removing bad breakers or whatever the process is for making sure people pay what they get, what they pay for, all that type of stuff. But taking all of that aside, and I'm going to lead this into my second point too about how the hobby is dead in Australia. Well, clearly it's not, because you've got this enormous platform,
I thought you were going to wear a Halloween costume yesterday, be like, walk around like a zombie going, the hobby is dead. Like
clearly,
there were so many people there.
Like, I think Whatnot would have spent a lot of money flying all their people out, and they clearly sponsored the shows. I think, they're putting money into the
there was
hobby.
a launch party afterwards. There was so much going on.
And then sort of my second point about, the hobby being dead, like there was, who knows exactly the number of people there, but I would guess 1,000 plus.
There are a couple of thousand people there from what I heard.
And that was the other thing that I found really quite interesting. There was just a lot of people there sort of engaged in the hobby. And I think that for me that was probably my two big takeaways, just how healthy the hobby looked at the moment.
Yeah.
Talking to a couple of vendors, obviously this is very superficial sort of layered commentary, but at the same time, I think it's interesting. People weren't spending a heap of money, but there was a lot of people negotiating and trading cards and doing cash plus cards and all that type of stuff. And, I think that's awesome. And if that's, where the hobby is at the moment, well, then vendors have to adapt to that to, get deals done and keep rolling around. Because if people aren't spending, wads of cash, okay, well, what are you prepared to do? So, and there was sort of a varying amount that, vendors were paying. Some were paying 80% comps, some were 70. I heard some 60% comps sort of, flying around, which I think is a little bit brutal. But if they're transparent about it and that's what they're paying, I don't particularly have a problem with that, because they can offer it to you and you just, decline. So, I was
going to say, it's quite easy to decline if you don't like the price, right?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So, look, I thought the environment there was really good. I thought that the vibe was really good. And I did trades. That was mostly what I did. I did purchase one card, but the part that I'm walking away feeling the best about was the trades. I actually just had a really good time doing that. And maybe, we talk about the hobby maturing, and maybe that's also the next part of the hobby maturing. People are getting better at making fair comps, making fair trades where both, parties feel like, they're doing pretty good out of it. And, vendors are sort of doing that in a bit better of a space. So
I think that's really good. Yeah.
That was probably my observation. So I think I've got a couple of shout outs here. I'm going to shout out to Jake Byrne, because that was the gentleman that I did a trade with.
Yeah.
And actually I've reached out to him to come on to the show. So I think
nice.
He might be interesting for, 5 or 10 minutes to sort of give us a bit of a hot take. And then this gentleman here, nice looking cardboard, which is Matt. Again, same thing. I was really happy with the deal that I got done with him.
You got the Stockton, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a Stockton patch autograph from Noir, which was a kind of a bit of a weird one because it looked like a Lakers uniform on it, but still, I'm super happy with that.
That definitely wasn't Lakers purple. It was Utah purple for sure.
Look, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Okay, I'll let you win that Lakers debate. So he had, to me, sort of very Ryan from Gem Rate vibes, this guy. I feel like, he had that. And also too, and maybe this is the third comment to add to this, I feel like there was a lot more sort of smaller vendors there where it was just hey, these are my cards that is from my personal collection that I'm happy to sell and move on. And that was kind of cool too. And maybe that's, I'm not too sure of why that is between, the differences between the two, but it felt like there was a little bit more sort of organic table space there as opposed to just all the big, the big boys. So
it was spread. It was very well spread out. You're right.
Yeah.
And it was, it was, there were a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah.
But there were some new faces. And I think that was the refreshing part about it. There was a familiarity about the whole event. And then there was also something new and fresh about it. And it's not just because Whatnot's here. It was something new because of the new vendors and
I don't think the Whatnot thing was forced down our throats so bad.
That was the beautiful part of it.
I definitely knew they were there, but I didn't feel...
We were all given a Whatnot tote bag at the beginning of the day, so...
But I didn't feel overwhelmed by that.
And I got a stubby holder. Yeah. But anyway,
I mean, only because you asked for it. So yeah, that was cool.
Like I think the whatnot thing is interesting, and you're right. We don't want to stray too far positive, too far negative, but it's a really good observation that when you're pioneering something, you're going to run into pros and cons. You're gonna hit some wins, and you're gonna annoy people, and bad things are gonna happen. But I think you need to applaud, and I use the word pioneer because it's bringing new things to the hobby.
Mm.
Like Whatnot have started something to try and create, or like fill a need, or take a need to another level. And yeah, props to them. I thought they definitely helped put on a great show, and it's nice that it's gone from, because we've previously done it where we're like, we can't really comment on it because we don't get it here in Australia, and now at least we'll get that opportunity. So, but yeah,
Watch this space, right?
yeah, it was a good day. Yeah, as you said, we met a few new people, saw some old friends, obviously. Story time with Mr. Rimpus, I can now say I have a fellow Luca cynic. It was lovely to hear. And eventually on our way out, it might have been the positioning and the way we went around the room. It was our lovely sponsor, Fast Break Collectibles. That was good to see the boys. You didn't have any trouble with the geography getting to their stand, at least. I think that's gonna be a joke till the end, but
till the day I die. I mean,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I can take that though. To be honest, if that's like the worst thing you boys can
That's all
drum
we've
up
got.
about
Yeah,
me,
yeah, that's true. That's true. But good day overall.
All right, early season overreaction. So, I think for me, James Wiseman got the start early in the preseason. I'm just looking at the box score from the game that was on the 13th of October.
Yep.
Was it the 13th? From the 10th of October. He did not get the start. Miles Turner was back in the starting lineup. So he got 10 minutes, 4 from 6 from the field, 10 rebounds though. And so 1 foul, 8 points, +4 in the plus minus. Again, look, if he's not starting, I don't think there's any real thing to prospect on here. I think, to be honest, it's probably a stay away. And if Miles Turner is still on the team, it makes sense that he's not going to get a heap of burn.
Yep.
But I think the whole optics or the narrative around Halliburton setting him up and letting him make simple plays, just be a big body. And that was the thing that I noticed when he started, because I watched most of that game.
Yeah,
he was just a big body getting in people's way. He was just standing underneath the basket, getting rebounds and dunking the ball. It's like he doesn't need to be playing in a motion system with Steph Curry. He just needs to be like dunking a basketball. You know what I mean? Like,
get the round thing, put it up there. Yeah, grab it, go up, grab it, and then put it in the ring.
Good pickup for them. But yeah, so I think probably side note on this, Drace Walker in the most recent game, 18 minutes, 3 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 12 points, 18 plus in the plus minus. So I've been sort of crapping on about Drace Walker a little bit. So it's actually good to see him, come through a bit. And that makes sense too. That's my sort of theory with him, is that Rick Carlisle doesn't really play rookies. He plays second-year players. So that's my sort of theory around him, like why you'll start to see a bit of a bump on him. So I don't think I even need to check card letter prices on James Wiseman. I can't imagine they're more than $1. So I feel like that's a bit of a...
It'd be more of a surprise if anyone's held on to the Wiseman cards more than anything.
Do we do Dyson Daniels quickly, mate, and then we go for a break? What do you reckon?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so Dyson Daniels, my take on this early preseason overreaction is that he's actually a really good fit next to Trae Young. Mm-hmm. And I think his size makes a whole heap of sense. And the analogy I'm going to use here is the Klay Thompson, Steph Curry pairing, in that Klay Thompson always did like sort of the heavy lifting and the dirty work, defended the best guy out of the backcourt. I think that's what they're going to do to Dyson Daniels this year. And I think the funny thing for me about Dyson Daniels is that actually he's got a fair bit of talent. And I think if he's getting more consistent court time, you're going to see that sort of the glimpses and the brightness sort of coming through from this guy, in addition to all the talent that Trae Young has. So I really like this. I think in terms of picking up somebody, I sort of love the analytics part on this, is that it's a bit like Moneyball, where the GM from the Hawks was sitting there saying, what do we need to put aside Trae Young for a cheaper price? Who is it that we can get? So they literally trade away a more expensive contract, get a better fit, and get some draft assets to come back with it. Like, so I think if you're a Hawks fan, like that's just, yeah. And they've had some good luck in the draft. Like they went, right up the draft, obviously to the top this year. Oh, actually, do we want to talk about that? Obviously, again, this is very small sample size theater at this point.
Have they played 2 or 3 games?
And me pronouncing his name, I'm going to butcher this. It's Rissacher. So 22 minutes, 7 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. And it's really funny because like those shooting numbers is actually quite remarkable in a very small sample size. But the thing that actually took me by surprise was his handle and his passing. Like I actually thought, I'm really surprised he doesn't have more assists in that stat line. And maybe he's kind of like the hockey assist guy, like the Tim Duncan type thing where he's making the play, but someone else is getting the assist numbers. But look, I liked him, from a very early sort of impression.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. You get to see rooks sort of do their thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good time. I would pronounce that Rissacher.
What did I say? Rissacher.
Rissacher. Sure.
Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Look, I'm sure we've probably got it wrong.
I'm sure he's going to give us a call and correct us in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, just like Paolo did.
And Giannis, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of lineups for the Hawks, so DeAndre Hunter for me is very expendable. And if Rissacher isn't in the starting lineup imminently, I'm going to be absolutely shocked by that. And
I reckon he'll be in and out.
I reckon his playmaking.
You reckon once he's in, he's in.
Yeah, I think his playmaking. Like I find DeAndre Hunter very much like a plain chip.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's a fine NBA player. Like don't get me wrong, but at the same time, man, he's boring, and he's not. Sometimes is he even on the court?
Kawhi Leonard's boring. He goes.
No. But Kawhi Leonard's on the court. Like Kawhi Leonard does things. He gets things done. And that's actually kind of a fun lineup. So then you've got Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, you've got Rissacher, you've got Jalen Johnson, which I love. And then Capella, I'm whatever on. But, I mean, he's not getting $50 million a year, Capella, either. So I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Maybe the Hawks are going to be sneaky fun this year.
See, that's an overreaction.
If this is the worst overreaction I have, that the Hawks are going to be fun this year, I'm totally down with this.
Look, yeah, I'm still I'm not sold on the Hawks.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let a couple of preseason games sway my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm happy to be proven wrong, and I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy we disagree.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good.
Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. Let's go to our first commercial break. Let's go straight to the Hobby Hangout. I feel like this is topical at the moment, considering we just did a breakdown of the Nationals, right? So Hobby Hangout, they are our sponsors. Thank you so much. And we bumped into Matthew too, didn't we?
We did. We saw,
great to see Matthew.
Matthew there.
Hobby Hangout will be coming to Melbourne the 17th of November. So guys, if you've got your Traders box still packed up from the Nationals, don't unpack it. In fact, add more stuff to it. Make sure it's already there, because it's a huge part of the Hobby Hangout is to take your traders there and do trades with people. It's going to be at the Melbourne Pavilion. Heaps of stuff going on there. So we've got live breaks, we've got panels, we've got live podcasts. Adam, you and I will be there live podcasting.
We will.
Now, just a random announcement of stalls there. We've got McLaren cards, Shield stamps, Stanbrook cards, Edge collectibles, Stasis collectibles. This one's a tricky one. PGCG, the Social Club Collectors, Unboxed Collectibles. Cherry's going to be there. We'll have to beep that word out. JT Collectibles, Big Three Cards and Supplies, Peter's Goat Cards. Shout out to our sponsors, Fast Break. They're going to be there too. So get on that. I believe that the pre-sale tickets have sold out where you could win the $500. So that offer is now gone. And then we've got Sydney coming up. So Sydney Hobby Hangout. Don't forget about Sydney, of course. Sunday, the 1st of December at the Sydney Roundhouse, Trading Zone, Poker Zone, Workshop, live breaks and paneling. Matthew Payne, of course, is going to be there. And again, that same sort of like huge list of vendors. It's just loaded, that show. So get on down to either show, guys. You just won't regret it. Same thing that we're talking about with the Nationals. If you don't have cash, it doesn't matter. Take your traders down there, wheel and deal with vendors. give them a hard time until you get the deal that makes you happy. Alrighty, Adam, how you feeling, mate? Are you feeling refreshed?
I'm refreshed. I'm very, very, very keen to continue talking about all of our overreactions in the off season. I've got a surprise one to throw at you.
All right, you go, mate, because I've been doing too much talking already today.
I've got my overreaction.
Give me your overreaction. I want to hear this.
It's not that it makes me sad. Well, it makes me a little bit sad. But from what I've seen in the limited preseason, Boston are going to be scary this year.
Yeah, Boston are going to be stupid good, mate. Yeah.
So SOS, someone from the Western Conference, can you please step up and get good so that the Boston don't go back to back? We can't have it.
Okay, so let me agree with your point, and I'll push this back onto you. Who do you think is the second or the third best team in the league at the moment, realistically, to challenge? Yeah, because I think that's the interesting part of the conversation for me.
All right. Well, I did a season preview with some friends a couple of weeks back, and I said Denver and Milwaukee are on revenge tours.
Yeah, sure.
I'm already backpedaling.
Okay.
But I do think Oklahoma City are poised to be at the top of the West. I think Minnesota are looking very good in the West.
Yeah.
In the East, I'm really concerned. Joel Embiid won't take part in the preseason. I don't know. I feel
the narrative around Embiid this year is he's basically not going to play 60 games. They're literally going to be resting him for the playoffs.
They're going to try and get him to the playoffs, right?
Yeah. So for me, that's Maxi's going to have a massive year. Embiid's going to be wrapped up in cotton wool. Yeah.
I think there could be early red flags on Philadelphia, and they've gone all in. So I don't know. I've concerns with what Philly was sort of telling. That opens opportunities at the top of the East.
So the red flags is going to be from the talking heads at ESPN, but I think if you go behind the scenes in the Philadelphia war room, right? That's their plan.
That is their plan, but is that gonna fix Joel Embiid as soon as he has to play lots of games?
So I think
that's the problem in the playoffs.
Yeah, so I think the thing with that is they're we don't need him healthy for the season. We need him healthy for the postseason. I kind of get their theory,
the rationale. Yeah, definitely. I don't know.
All right,
if they end up as a play-in team, they've done their dough, I reckon.
How about I just yell at you team names and you just say yes or no whether they can contend for the championship?
Okay.
Hawks.
No.
Hornets.
No.
Heat.
No.
Magic.
Yes.
Okay. Wizards.
No.
Bulls, Cavs, Pistons.
No. No.
Pacers, Bucks, Nets.
You
said Bucks already, so
I said Bucks can contend for the championship. Look,
and then you got Knicks and Raptors. That's the other two teams we have.
Knicks, I think they're contenders. I don't know how far into I say contenders for the conference championship. I don't know about the whole time. Yeah.
So for me, there's enough meat on the bone to be interested. So where I'm going with that is, I think what used to be boring when Golden State was in their peak was before the season even started, you're pretty sure the Warriors were going to run it back.
True.
And so
I'm concerned that the Celtics are going to run it back because there's no one in the East, I think, that are good enough to stop them.
Well, for me, when I go through that, I'm okay, I think 76ers are going to be at least interesting. I think the Bucks have a good chance, but obviously there's some stuff that has to go right. But then you go to the West, it's Nuggets, Wolves, OKC. For me, that's three teams. If they make
the question mark over the Nuggets though is did they lose the farm when they lost KCP?
Yeah, sure. But then we haven't even spoke about Dallas, who made it to the finals last year.
Yeah, true.
And so, that's the part where I'm actually, I think this is kind of going to be a fun season. So
I think it'll be a fun season, but I think just like last season, Boston finished 12 games in front of the next best team.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like that's on the cards again.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
We're not the only ones having early season overreactions here. So this is from @KyrieMavs. This is on Twitter. This is if you want to go overreactions, check this out. Derek Lively's archetype is the same as Giannis Antetokounmpo. If I recall correctly, Giannis wasn't really Giannis until his third season. Lively is already a better three-point shooter. Lively is on a similar pace defensively. Lively's development is with post-ups and ball handling, but we've seen glimpses of both. there is a realistic chance that Lively isn't just a good player or even just a great defensive anchor. He might actually be a superstar. It's time to consider that as a real possibility. Adam, talk about a early season overreaction. Where are you at with this?
Wow. I don't think whatever he's taking is legal in most states.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Whatever Kool-Aid you've been drinking, seriously, breath test yourself, mate. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I know. It's just as I'm sure once. Who else? I mean, we could segue this. I'm sure there are people that thought this about the same thing about Bronny James, but
do we want to segue to there now? Do we?
I don't know. Do we want to go from the heights of fun of the season to the depths of despair that is the narrative of Bronny James's short career in the NBA?
All right. Well, how about let me finish off my little Derek Lively thing,
Let's
do Bronny James. So look, actually, I think Derek Lively is a really good player.
Oh, solid.
But I think to put him in the same sentence as Giannis, like that is very difficult because I think if we're being honest, the athleticism they're not in the same page. And then in terms of their defensive acumen, the same thing, like his mobility is not there. And I think that's why Giannis is so special because he can cover so much ground on the court, like, laterally and also obviously, vertically in the air. I don't think Lively is as laterally superior as what Giannis is. And then when we're talking about ball handling and passing, look, I think Lively is okay, and he can do some interesting things. But I think if you invest your house value into Lively cards, I think that's an insanely risky proposition. And also just based on the fact he's like a big man, like a true five. Yeah, look, I'm not too sure about this. But look, let's just say, can we agree he's got a little bit of upside?
He's got some upside. I like Lively. You know who? Yeah, I've been reading the comments on this Twitter feed.
I mean, read some of them out. It's pretty funny.
This is like he's anybody that sort of drew any criticism to it. It's like you can like hang on, like Giannis has done all these things. Like it's pretty stupid comparison. The guy goes, he's only 20, and then there's more replies from that. And you're like, this is pretty crazy disrespect to Giannis. And he's like, I'd argue Giannis was worse than Lively year one.
Yeah, look, I think at this point, I feel like comps are more interesting to talk about than the Twitter responses. I think we need to be careful reading out Twitter responses too, right? Yeah.
And a Luka career-altering player. You could put the nail in Luka's coffin. Anyway.
All right. Okay, this one I want to talk to you about. 23-24 Panini Impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
On-card autograph number to 10. It's sold for $565 USD. That to me is shocking. So then if you look at a different on-card autograph, so Contenders, that's sold for just 50 AUD. So an absolute, I actually wonder if that card sale went through, to be honest, at 565 USD. I can't imagine you would ever get your money back on that ever. There's a Spectra RPA there for 35 USD. Like in my head, that's more where Lively is, and that's sort of $50 to $70 for a really nice card. Like that sort of pocket of the hobby, that's where I put him. I don't put him at $565.
No.
That's insane for me.
Yeah. Insane's probably the right. I don't know. It's too young. I don't think he's too young to
Maybe he's got a bit of collectible, man. So this is a choice rookie card to 88. That's sold for 117 USD. Maybe there's more Lively action than I'm giving him credit for.
Possible.
Yeah. Okay. Look, this is something we need to keep an eye on. I mean, it's an outrageous.
He's definitely
claim.
one to watch. Look, it's an overreaction. That's for sure.
It's delicious. Yep.
But look, I don't think it's gratuitous to think that he's going to be the third string in that Dallas lineup. He's probably got a better chance of being number 3 than Clay does. Anyway.
Alrighty, Bronny James, currently tied for the worst plus minus in the preseason at the moment with Jordan Poole and Sarr from the Wizards at minus 40.
Should Jordan Poole win a championship? He's on par with a championship caliber player. That's all I'm going to say. Just paint this narrative. Oh my god, yeah. Look, I'm all for LeBron's narrative, and let's not discount the fact that this has never happened before in the league, and LeBron's made it happen with the Lakers' help. Um, his son will more than likely be there on opening night, and it'll be awesome to because history will go back and say LeBron and Bronny played a game of basketball together in the league. It had never been done before. Is he ready? I think I agree with the media and say no. He's probably going to end up in the G League. He might get 3 games, but at what point does LeBron get upset with this?
That's sort of part of it.
Mm.
It's not that I don't care. I'm actually just not that interested in it. I kind of feel like that's just going to play out its own natural life or death. Do you know what I mean? He's either going to make it in the league and he's not. And yes, he's really well connected to his dad. And yes, I think there is some coincidence that, the Lakers picked him up. Like,
there's no coincidence. We knew it was going to happen.
I'm not denying the conspiracy or in the nepotism or whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, at some point, that's going to go away. And even if there is some, I would still actually make the argument, whatever that LeBron is getting plus Bronny James is getting, let's just say they're doing some cap manipulation to pay LeBron James more. It's still not enough to the value add that he brings back to the Lakers. Do you know what I mean? So in the aggregate, I don't care about this. I'm like whatever.
Yeah.
So the thing I am interested in though is the question I've got for you is Bronny James collectible? So at the moment, he won't be signing in Panini. He'll only be signing for Fanatics. So I think what's going to happen, this coming year, he'll be in Panini products, but he won't be signing. We're talking about Bronny James at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at 130 point at the moment. Like, these sales are higher than high-end Derek Lively. Let me put it to you this way. So 2023 Topps Chrome Bronny James, 1 of 25. PSA, what is that? I can't actually read it. It looks like a PSA 10. Sold for 1,195 USD. Like, we're not talking, a small amount of cheddar here. 23-24 Bowman University Sapphire, 1 of 10, SGC 9, sold for 830 USD. So, I mean, the question I've got to you, and I think as a Lakers fan, you might be able to explain this to me better, because to me, this is just like crazy stuff. Why are people paying that for Bowman University sticker autographs?
It's for those that are, like our friend that drank the Derek Lively Kool-Aid, people don't want to miss out, right? We've seen he's got the worst plus minus and everything. But in the lead up to that, what if like Bronny James was like a closet superstar and he was going to be just as good as his dad and you missed out? It's perceived FOMO. It's got to be.
So you think that they're prospecting on his actual top end potential as opposed to the family name, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because my perception is that I think he's probably got as much talent as Admiral Schofield.
Okay.
And so, Schofield has been in and out of the league, sort of in and out of the G League. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore, to be perfectly honest. I don't think he is. So he's sort of played like 3.5 years in the league and now he's out.
Yeah.
And sort of my feeling is that it's more about the fact that he's the son of LeBron James as to why he's collectible.
Yeah.
And I think, so is that just one of those things that you have to just accept it's just fact? It's just like how there's all the hype around Zion, there's all the hype around Ja Morant, the same hype is sort of going to be around, Bronny James. But I just, like, for me, I find that stuff very difficult to collect, and I don't.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hell of a risk, though.
That like appealing. That.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you look at anyone else aside from Wemby, right, in the last year's draft, and Wemby was the card, and you were looking for other things, that's what the Bronny James play is. There are people that are taking that punt and paying a ridiculous premium, even coming from me, that's a ridiculous premium, on the chance that Bronny's 80% of his dad.
I can't believe that people even consider that to be a real thing. Like,
right. So
do they actually believe that he's going to be
has a breakout,
80% of LeBron?
22, 23-year-old Bronny all of a sudden, under the tutelage of his old man, blows it up, becomes an absolute freak of a basketball player. Everybody that got those cards is rolling in it.
Yeah, see, my head's in such a different space, man. I'm
But
like, I don't think he's going to
that's
be.
what they're prospecting on. I'm not saying it. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying to you,
it's
like,
the high risk, high reward, and
as
the
a
reward
counter, I'm
there
like, I can't actually believe people are like banking on that. I just figured they were.
There are
buying
people
it
out there that think Luka Doncic is worth investing in.
was
Was that a good time to jab? Yeah.
I'm beginning, like, you're kind of like grinding my gears now with this Luca stuff. You can't put Luca and Bronny James in the same sentence, man.
They have the same number of MVPs. They have the same number of NBA championships.
Oh my God.
Anyway, no, I don't think Bronny is going to be a success story. But people are betting on the fact that what if he is?
Okay.
And he's got the ultimate Ferrugia factor. There's the only way to describe it.
Yeah.
If he does drop a 50 piece on somebody, the cards go through the roof because he's his father's son.
Yeah. Can you imagine if he gets 25 points even, man? I feel like that's going to be like
he comes out
ESPN
at
front page, right?
Yep. He comes out on opening night and shoots 60% from the field and drops 20 points. They go, geez, I guess the preseason didn't mean anything. Once again, I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, the hype will be through the roof, proving the doubters wrong. Oh, it'll be, you know what I mean.
Look, I actually watched a little bit of Lakers the other day, and I thought their roster was like pretty competitive. Like I thought Max Christie is looking pretty good.
He's the one that's taking a step.
I don't think he's like going to be a star, but I think he's like, a rotation NBA player.
I think he's evolved and he's ready to be a contributing role player. Yeah,
Dalton Knight is looking pretty good, and I kind of get the feeling him and JJ Redick are going to be boys. Like, coaches like players. I've just kind of got that feeling on that one.
Who's that? The new one, Connect.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. What
Connect,
did I say?
Yeah.
Knight. It's Connect, isn't it?
Connect.
Yeah. And then the other one that I was watching a short on the other day, he came in the fourth quarter. This kid, this Quincy Olivari. Like, if you're asking me who's going to make the roster, Quincy or Bronny James, I got to be honest with you. I think it's going to be Quincy. Like, that kid looks good.
Yeah.
Like, and he's an old rookie too. He's already 23. So that actually makes sense why he's coming in like ready-made, Okay. Yeah. Hey, man, let's go for a break.
Bronny's going to have a handful of games. This is a prediction that I'm just going to make.
Yeah, give us your overreaction. Yeah.
He's going to maybe a dozen games leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
One of those will be when the Lakers are going for their back-to-back in-season tournament championship.
Yeah.
And LeBron's trying to run it back. And he can win his second in-season tournament MVP with his son in the team. Because he wants the narrative.
Okay.
It's all narratives. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Let's take a break.
Let's go to a break. US Sports Cards Australia. Thank you to Ross and Team USCA. We really appreciate your support. Now, Ross has been slaving away on his project ComCA. So if you go to ussportscardsaustralia.com.au, click on the three little noodles on the left-hand side, and ComCA will become available for you to click on. What you'll find there is basically a small store, and it's growing since the last time I clicked onto it. You submit all of your cards to Ross, and Ross will put them online for you. And it's basically a consignment service. So then people go in there and buy your cards. Ross will give you out the money, and he'll post out the cards to the people. So the other thing that Ross is really keen to do for people too is if you're a breaker and you've got cards that people don't even want to pay for postage, so they're just sitting there in a huge box, you might get 50 cents or $1 for each card, but there's a couple of hundred in there. That's the type of service that Ross is trying to build up here and start to get cards rolling around the hobby is what Ross wants to do. So
wants them rolling.
ussportscardsaustralia.com.au. Thank you so much for your support, Ross. We are very, very grateful for it. Welcome back. Adam, did you get a drink?
I did. I definitely needed hydration after my overreaction to Bronny James.
That's right. Your tongue must be burning at this point, surely.
My mind has been blown. But you wait in a couple of years when we're comparing Luka Doncic and Bronny James.
Yeah. Alrighty, this next one is from Mac Card Collection. And I think we've spoken about this young man on the show before. Look, he does some pretty cool Instagram content it's not clickbaity, it's generally pretty thoughtful and considerate. So if you don't follow him, check him out. I think he's a good dude on Instagram. He did this segment recently about the crossover of a card. So we talked about this card.
We talked about this one.
The Wilt Chamberlain card that was found in a box in the back of a shop or something like this. It goes off SGC.
Yep.
And that was my comment at the time. Like, why on earth would you take this card to SGC? So it's been purchased in a private sale for 1.7 million, which my opinion at the time was, considering all the money that's thrown around these days and sort of on the ultra modern, this seems to be like a true one of one the all-time greats. So congratulations to the person who bought this. And now 10x that congratulations, because they've crossed it over to PSA 10. I think this is insane, honestly. And when there's the common sense thing that needs to be done and then someone goes out and does that common sense thing, I feel like this is, common sense prevails, so to speak. So well done to the person who's done this. So in terms of the value add, do you think this increases it by 2 times, by 3 times? Where are you at?
It's a hell of a gamble. And obviously it paid off, but wow.
So my feeling
is that a $5 million card now?
Yeah, that's exactly my feeling. I reckon this has automatically tripled it.
Yeah.
And then this won't be sold until it's like a $5 or a $10 million card. I think this just sits in someone's bank vault now, and that's it, So
it's someone's inheritance. Literally.
Yeah. That's
Imagine
a
that.
kind of cool inheritance, really, isn't it? That's quite nice.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Congrats. That's all I can say. Mark Jackson, let's talk about this. So this card, somehow we've managed to not talk about this. And I reckon let's just cap this at 2 minutes ad, because I feel like that's all this card deserves. The Mark Jackson,
a couple of these.
1991 Hoops is spiking again, all to do with the fact that there is a very excellent true crime documentary on Netflix about the Menedez brothers, and so this card is now back into the mainstream. Now, I think...
Okay, now I get it.
When I saw this originally, I thought this was selling for a lot higher. I thought this was selling for
there are people that
hundreds.
have got it, but people have got it there up on eBay and stuff for like $1,500 and stuff for buy it now prices.
But when you go through the 130 point sold, so it's not on Card Letter. I actually think Card Letter should put this card on there. So then, no, but it actually makes sense, right? So if you've got people who are crossing over into the hobby from pop culture, isn't this something you'd want people to look at? Like, that to me is just like customer service almost.
It's funny that this, because I've heard this story a number of times.
Tell your story or your version of the story.
But everyone's like, isn't there a Mark Jackson card from the 90s? Funnily enough, it's 1990. That's worth a lot of money because of who's in the background. That was the first I'd ever heard of it.
Yeah.
And I heard that at basketball, like when I was playing men's basketball.
Yeah.
It's like it was a random person that didn't know about, like, wasn't a sports cards person. They just heard about it. And I think that's cool. Yeah. I think it's incredibly cool. And it was...
So I think you have to be a little bit careful of what you say with like high value, but let's just agree, or we might disagree. I think this is a $2 card. So it's currently selling 61 AUD, 20 USD, 18 USD, 20 USD again.
Yeah.
20 USD,
I found one on
21, 15
advertised
USD.
for $500.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the buyer beware thing, isn't it? Where people just put stuff on eBay for crazy amounts. But so let's just say that it's 10 times higher than what it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe this card.
Yep.
Do I think this is collectible? Not for 2 seconds. Do I think this is collectible? But if you want to go out and spend 20 USD on it, I'm not even going to criticize you. I'm going to say enjoy it. And if that gives you joy for $20, I think that's a bargain, frankly.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's have a look.
So you've got a couple, you said?
I've got a couple. I bought a box of hoops a couple of years ago. And it wasn't just for this card. It was like $150 for a box of 1990 hoops.
Yeah.
I got a couple of Sean Kemp rookies. I got this card a couple of times.
Yeah, right.
I got the Sam Vincent with the Michael the other Sam Vincent one, the good one, with Michael Jordan wearing the 12
in the background. Yeah.
So Michael Jordan's in the front foreground of the picture with the number 12 on, going for the
Yep.
rebound. Sam Vincent's over the top of him. So you
Yep.
see the number 12 on Jordan
Yep.
very clearly. So I'm like, this has got a few cute little
interesting
quirky
subplots.
cards.
Yep.
Yeah. And obviously, like, the Sam Vincent one was probably the main reason I wanted to buy a box. But having the Mark Jackson was just a bonus for me. And to go back to the friend that knew about the card, and he said it's a valuable card, his idea of an expensive card was $50. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but from the outside, that's actually kind of a common sense thing to say, frankly. Like, we can get caught up in this crazy world.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there have been recent sales of it being more than $50. And that is, I guess, an expensive card.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's not the Wilt Chamberlain. Do you know what I mean?
Derek Lively.
Correct. Exactly right. Or a Bronny James university card. Is a college card. But it is. It's like there are people that would find this card and go, oh, my God, I'm going to be a millionaire. And then there were people that like, oh, my God, is that like worth $50? But it is. It's thrust into the spotlight, I guess. And it is. It's nice to see the documentary about the Menedez brothers. But yeah, so am I right in understanding, because I haven't seen the doco series yet, this is where they were, it's their parents' courtside seats?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So they're sitting in their parents' courtside seats after they'd
necked them
and ended their existence.
Yeah, just chilling out.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go watch the basketball.
Yeah.
Mum and dad won't be using the tickets. Let's go. So that's how this card came to fame.
Anyway.
And Netflix, it's on Netflix, so everyone's remembering it, so everyone's selling it. Yeah. It's the Fallujah factor, courtesy of Netflix.
Alrighty. Now, this is my own echo chamber that I'm going to be talking down right now, but I don't care. Usman Deng. This is someone I've definitely been high on in the past, but just because of the OKC Thunder's depth, it's really hard to actually even make him as a recommendation to buy at the moment. I've sort of, I like him, but at the same time, I'm not even recommending. However, against the New Zealand Breakers, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 3-pointers, and just 1 turnover. He's just 21 years of age. So I think for me...
Is he the one that won the MVP
G League MVP
G League?
also too, yeah. I think the best outcome for this guy is just that he gets released by the Thunder and gets opportunity somewhere else, honestly. Like, just what's such a difficult team to break into?
All right, so what's a good fit for him? Where is a good fit for him?
Look, I love the Magic at the moment. I think they're the OKC Thunder of the East.
Of the East. You reckon he fits there, though?
What's that?
Where does he fit? Does he fit
on the Magic? He would probably
Magic?
come off the bench for them, but at the same time, at least he would get some burn.
Yeah.
The other one, too, that's doing some kind of interesting things at the moment is the Detroit Pistons, where they're just taking on pieces of talent that people are just...
I reckon he would thrive in Detroit.
Just throwing away there, right? So that's the other one. And then the other fun one, too, is the Pacers, where he goes into a system with Halliburton. He gives, say, Spicy P a bit of a rest and then gets some minutes like that. But, the thing in OKC, would he even get 3 minutes a game at the moment? That team is just so tough. Yeah,
that's tough.
Hey, man, we've really mucked up our scheduling today, so why don't we just have our last break? It's a super short segment, but let's have a break. I think let's do some shout-outs too, Ad. So let's talk about Central Coast Radio. The team at Central Coast Radio have welcomed us into their arms. So, guys, if you would like some Australian-grown content that is 100% organic, these are just DJs like ourselves, making content, putting together radio shows that just love what they do. So it's centralcoastradio.com. They're on 24 hours a day. They do have a schedule on there if you do want to pick out, particular shows. But we are on Tuesday nights at 11 p.m., Thursdays at 10 a.m., and then Saturday night at 3 a.m. So if you've been up and you've been out and you're coming home, don't worry about putting on Rage. Just put on Central Coast Radio, and then you can listen to our set lists and, of course, our podcast in there too.
It's just on that though. Like you can check out all the different hosts on their website as
Yeah,
well
they've got a
and
full
see.
schedule there. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of different shows, a lot of different stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
check it out.
And of course, the boys at Fast Break Trading Cards. We did give them a shout out earlier in the show, but let's do the official one. Fastbreaktradingcards.com. Take yourself down to there. You will find sports trading cards, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, UFC, wrestling, Fanatics Authentic, which is a big part of their business model. They've also got a promo code at the moment, YCCT10, will get you 10% off all Fanatics memorabilia. Also, looking through their site, they've got TCG, so Disney, Lorcana, Pokemon, One Piece. And in terms of supplies, they've got the full gamut of supplies there, penny sleeves, top loaders, everything on and on. You can also now do PSA and also BGS grading with the boys too. And I believe that is in direct partnership with the hobby, but obviously all the details will be on the website there. And
Awesome.
look, if you do get down to their shop, which is at 75 Tulip Street in Cheltenham, please tell them that Adam and Russell sent them down, and make sure you take your time when you go down there, because they have got really well curated boxes. They've got the dollar boxes, the $5, they've got the $10, and they've got a cabinet full of, I'm using air quotes now, but that's sort of higher end product in their
Yeah.
glass cabinets there too. So guys, thank you so much for your support. Alrighty, Ad, this is our last segment for this week. Looking at the list here, what would you like to talk about first? What do you think is the most interesting?
The most interesting. God, there are a lot of quick hitters. You reckon we could smash through them all?
Okay, let's see how we go. So,
We'll start. All right. Do we want to start? Oh
all right,
no.
let's start with Zion then, because this is another one of my early season overreactions, and I did put together a CapCut video using AI generated voice,
I
which
heard
my
that.
my wife hates. Like, she absolutely hates it, but I think there's some
Oh.
like comedy value to it. So look, early season reaction: 8 of 11 from the field, 8 rebounds, 16 points, 3 assists. I actually thought he looked pretty good, to be honest. I think physically he's looking good, but obviously, the hang up here is the health. So Luke Batterson, he's looking good. Let's see if he can stay healthy. I think that sums it up, in one go. His pricing at the moment is juicy, man. I don't actually think you can ignore this guy at the moment at the pricing that he's currently at. Um,
Yeah.
I'm actually not a hater of Zion cards at the moment at the current price that they're at. It's
Oh,
just your
look,
risk profile, what you want to jump on at.
and that's the thing, right? Like we're the original hype train. Yeah, cool. That crashed. It was a train wreck.
Yeah, but if you're jumping on now, like,
Jump on now.
I've actually
It's
never
the
purchased a silver Zion ever, so now I'm kind of like, actually, is now the good time to jump in.
yeah, yeah. It's true. It's
This
I
is
think it's
again a
possible. Yeah.
bit of a personal one. So Herb Jones is announced by the Pelicans. He's going to be starting at center this year. I think he's going to get absolutely crushed physically, but at the same time, skill wise, I think this is going to be very interesting. And in terms of me watching a team play basketball, I think Herb Jones playing center is going to be delicious. So I'm all in on this.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's not going to hurt his value. I can't see this as a bad thing for him. Card ladder headlines: Nikola Jokic BGS 9.5 2015 National Treasures on card autograph. That was a mouthful, to 99, and I barely stuttered. Last sold for $17,000.
Wow.
I think for me, this is just finally people are giving him the recognition that he deserves. So, and I hope this keeps trending up. So, congratulations to that
Yeah, I was going
buyer.
to say buy, hold, or sell at that at 17K.
I mean, look, looking at the previous sales that was around 10 and 6, I would have preferred to pay for it then. But I think my current sort of thought process is that unfortunately we've just missed the Jokic train, but it's all heading in the right direction of where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his resume is insane. Like, it doesn't actually make sense to me when I look at his prices as to actually what he's outputted.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clay Thompson, this is from Alt Official. Now, this is a little bit of a special card. That's the reason I put this in here, as opposed to it being Clay Thompson. But 2012, so that's that really classic Panini design, the gold prism number to 10,
That's his
PSA
rookie
10.
year.
That sold for $13,250. I've got no problems with this at all.
I look that makes sense to me because that Prism, the 2012. That's his considered his rookie card.
Yeah, and talk about, undervalued people in the hobby. I get it. His personality piece, he's behind Draymond and Clay and Steph in terms of, personalities. I get that. I get all of that.
And
But
on the Mavericks, he's behind Luka, Kyrie, Lively.
it's weird, right? Isn't it?
He's like
But at the
fourth or
same
fifth
time,
banana.
he's an absolute champion of champions. So
He is.
I've got a lot of love for him and respect the way that he conducts himself, and so I probably think that he's just a little bit undervalued. So it's good to see him getting some shade. This next one is Wemby catching a lob from Chris Paul. So I dodgily recorded this and put it up onto Instagram, onto the reels. Man, if you're not excited about this season, I feel like you just need to watch this really crappy video like 10 times over, and it's going to be like, we are going to be seeing this for 65 games this year. Chris Paul throwing lobs to Wemby. I love this so much.
This is one of my highlight things to be excited about in this, in the off season. Like one of the best point guards this game has seen. So cerebral.
Yeah,
teaching Wemby where to be, how to do everything he needs to.
and you go from Sochan throwing you lobs to Chris Paul. Like, in terms of an upgrade, could you have done it any better? Like, is it possible to have upgraded?
Steve Nash could have come out of retirement. I don't know. John Stockton?
I reckon Steve Nash probably gets around about how I do these days. Like, a canter is his probably top speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with his back problems.
That guy was cooked, back in the day.
When he was playing for the Lakers, he was cooked. Yeah.
Hey, man, I want to talk about this, actually. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Chris Paul, 2005 Topps Chrome Refractor, which is his rookie year, basically.
Yeah.
Population on this is 24. It last sold for $990. Again, I sort of put Chris Paul into that Klay Thompson conversation where his resume exceeds his card values. Is it possible that Wemby could drag his card value upwards?
So which one's this?
I have not got this in the sheet at all.
2005 Chrome Refractor?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on Card Ladder now.
Sorry, that was an instant segue, and I was like, hang on a minute. Are we missing the true narrative here?
Pop count 24. True pop count is Gems 86. Okay. There's nothing much in the Beckett. Okay.
Even if that number was 200, like comparative to the ultra modern where, Wemby's what he's he's already at 3,000, right?
It's under $1,000. It's down 45%. This is a steal.
Yeah. This might be the most intelligent thing we've said in a long time, mate. All right. Let's keep this quick hitting. James Gregory, listen to question. Podcast chat, ICG, TCG, grading card company. Walked into a card shop in Liverpool and Sydney, and I would say 90% of the cards displayed were ICG, TCG graded, which I found a little strange, and I did want to spend time looking at comps. What's your views on TCG graded cards or other Australian grading companies and how they stack up in the international market? I don't think there's a need to use TCG or ICG anymore, and the reason is because the grading turnaround time is so much faster now. I think there was a place for these grading companies when the wait was 2 years. I think that's unreasonable to wait 2 years for your cards to come back. I also think too that at one point the pricing was just effing insane, and there's no reason to spend hundreds of dollars to get your card graded, whereas that is, again, completely flipped around altogether.
Yeah, for sure.
And to answer the question specifically about the international, people from America don't even know Australia exists, let alone that people from America know that there's a grading card company from Australia called TCG. Do you know what I'm saying? And as much as I'm joking saying that people from America don't actually know, there is actually people from America that have never left America.
Yeah, that's true. Like they literally don't know.
Yeah.
And
which
they don't
I love
care.
about Americans, by the way. Like, American listeners, don't get your knickers in a twist. I love you guys, and I love
hopefully
America.
We can wake them up to the fact that we exist in the hobby. But you're right. Like if Beckett doesn't stand a chance, why would anyone else?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the simple story.
Yeah.
Like it's PSA these days, and it's so accessible. You're right. That's just I think any high quality grading company worth its salt. No offense to the smaller ones that are
No,
based in
I don't
Australia and
think
whatnot,
we're not shooting shots here at the
but
grading
PSA are
company.
absorbing them. The good ones are being absorbed.
Yeah.
And
So I
I'm
suppose
sorry, but unless you don't, there's no point in inventing a bread slicer these days.
Yeah. I think so. I suppose the question is, why would you send your cards to these companies? I think there is an element of people out there that, as much as I was taking the piss out of Americans, that they also want to support Aussies and have things Aussie homegrown, and that's fine.
True,
But
that's fair. That's fair.
I think,
But you've got the premium and go to is PSA.
oh no, that's not even a conversation. But I think in terms of pricing, you just price it on raw, and that's it. It's
Do you
just
do you price it as raw or do you
there's no added value getting these cards.
premium raw?
No. Matthew Hull, listen to question. Derek Rose, the best to have ever not got a ring and the all-time
Yes.
comeback kid for Chicago Town. I always followed NBA, but it did waver after the Jordan years for me, as it did for every diehard Bulls fan. It hasn't been easy. Oh, don't cry me a river, you Bulls fans, when you get these championships and
I
then have
know
bad teams.
the poor 6 championships they won.
Seriously. But Derek brought us back to life. He and Noah plus Gibson and a few others brought the ball game back to Chicago. Kirk Heinrich was like a big deal for you guys. Ben Gordon was good too. His jersey was the first one I ever bought after Jordan and Pippen. You won't change my mind, but who else has had a profound effect on the league and a franchise? Look, I think there's actually some really good people who didn't win championships. And probably for me, the all-time is like Karl Malone, because if you actually sort of break down his resume, it's actually insane that the guy didn't win one championship. He did jump onto that Lakers team to try and win a ring, but then, got destroyed by Detroit. So John Stockton, Reggie Miller are probably the other big ones there. And then, we have to sort of start moving into like the ultra modern guys. So Vince Carter's in that conversation.
Yep.
And of course, we were just talking about Chris Paul. I think the way that's going to play out, it's going to be Chris Paul. And then, Steve Nash won 2 MVPs and didn't get a championship. And Barkley. I would probably put them ahead of Derrick Rose. I think in terms of revitalizing a fan base and also an organization, like MVP Derrick Rose was sick. Like, he was amazing. But I wouldn't say he's better than Reggie Miller. Like, Reggie Miller was the shit,
What about Russell Westbrook?
Oh, yeah. He's the ultra modern.
Mr. Triple-Double.
Yeah.
Never winning a chip. Oh, except this year in Denver, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Right.
This was one that I came up with after I saw an autograph of Nafisa Collier, which is also a very topical one, considering that her team is in the NBA Finals at the moment, and the WNBA Finals, I should say, and beat Sabrina's team in Game 1. So I actually love that autograph. I think that's a really thoughtful autograph. It fits on the sticker. It's not smudged. It's got a number. It's got a whole name onto it.
It's like she's just written her name and a number inside the box.
Yeah, but man, compared to like other autographs, like that, it's like you know what I mean? It's a very thoughtful autograph.
But I'm like,
I love it.
Do you think her market manager was like, so you're gonna start signing autos? What do I do? Just write your name in the box. Okay.
No, man, I don't reckon the managers would micromanage this at all. I think they're just like, they would it'd just be like them ticking off a box. I need to post out the stickers and I need to get them back at some point, and I doubt they even care about the deadline. Hence why we have 15 million redemptions floating around.
Oh, good.
All right, so we had some good listener interactions on this. Lachlan Brunt sent in the nice Rick Barry there. That is actually a spectacular autograph. And that particular example too, which is just like a beautiful, shiny Revolution card. I'm going to guess that's a Starburst, but at the same time, I'm not too sure what that is.
That's a very nice looking autograph is what that is.
Luke Batterson, so he's earned the top contributor badge. So congratulations, Luke, and thank you for your contributions. Submitted a Carmelo Anthony, and that's someone else that we didn't include in the Derrick Rose conversation, did we too, right?
Carmelo, yep.
Yep. And he also made a note there that actually Melo's autographs changed over time, so that's a cool one. And this is the one I wanted to talk to you about the most, Ad, is this Jordan one from Andrew Suter Hewitt. It's like, almost how did we forget this as a really good autograph?
Well, I guess we don't see it all that often. He hasn't signed for a while.
You know, the funny thing was I've never actually thought about how good his auto is. It's kind of one of those things that's always sort of been there. I've never really put
What a
that much
Michael
thought into
Jordan.
it. It's
Yeah,
actually an insanely good autograph. It's like it's a piece of art. So
it's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty cool auto.
Clint Reed, thanks for chipping in, mate. You've put this sticker auto in here from Jalen Pickett. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Putting their number in. It sucks when they change jersey though.
This next one from Brad. Brad, I can't do this one, mate. It's NFL. Sorry, buddy. George G with a Patrick Ewing autograph. Of course, he's contributing that one there. That is.
But he's written over his shorts. What's going on?
You don't like that?
Don't wreck the image. You've got to have the auto's got to stand out for itself.
So I think because see the Skybox logo that's there, Ad, he didn't sign over that. I don't actually because his pants are mostly white. I'm okay with that.
Fair. I don't know.
And then the die cut part of his face hasn't been taken over. So
True. I do like the next one by Brad Van Delft.
Yeah, talk to me.
It's a Oscar Robertson.
Yeah,
that's just a sleek. Actually, I would have put mine in. I would have said Kareem, but
yeah, he puts a lot of time and energy into it.
Yeah.
Stephen Hallam is basically agitating all the demons from my closet. Admiral Schofield from the Wizards had a clean auto. He does. If anyone's looking to purchase Schofield, I've got about 25,000.
Oh, he's put it down in the comments.
Cupboard.
He's got it. He replied with a pretty Schofield one there. It is a very, very nice looking auto.
It's good. The question is, do you actually want them?
Yeah.
Scotty James, no way, man. We're not doing wrestling on this show, but good to see you, mate, at the show yesterday.
Well, Clint Reed finished it out with Alonzo Mourning. That is a pretty hot autograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Ad, I think let's pull up stumps here, mate. I think that's a perfect time to end the show. And thanks everybody for your contributions and interacting with us. And it was good to bump into a few people at the show yesterday who come up and said hi. So
that was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Adam, thank you for a lovely evening. Adam, thank you for your YouTube prowess too. All the work you do on that, it's really appreciated. And the short videos you've been making for the socials, they're doing really, really well at the moment.
There'll be another wave of crazy videos and funny and not so funny. That's it. Even the ones that aren't funny are probably the funniest.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
And we'll see you next week.